Dear brothers and sisters, did the world breathe a sigh of relief? Trump's clear words on the takeover of Greenland. United States President Donald Trump began his long-awaited speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He also mentioned Greenland. Trump on Greenland in Davos. I thought I wouldn't bring this up. Every NATO ally has the obligation to be able to defend its own territory. And the truth is, no country or group of countries has the absolute capability to be able to secure Greenland. Only the United States, he said. It's good to return to the beautiful home of Switzerland and address so many respected business leaders, so many friends, and a small group of enemies, Trump said at the very beginning of his speech in Davos, and referred to Greenland in his speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He stated, no country has the capability to be able to secure it. This is our territory, he emphasized. However, he ruled out the possibility of using force. Trump was also asked what kind of agreement he envisioned between the United States and Denmark regarding Greenland. Negotiations are ongoing. Denmark has to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to manage it, and Denmark is a small country with wonderful people, but it's very expensive. This is a very large piece of ice. Very important. It's very important that we use it for national and international security, he said. You can create a force that will ensure that these bad people won't be able to do anything bad to our good people. Denmark should be spending hundreds of billions of dollars on this, but it's not spending anything. They haven't spent anything at all. We'll see what happens. I'm simply saying that NATO is treating the United States of America very unfairly. We've never asked for anything, we've never received anything, and we've been taking care of NATO needs for years. And I also thought it was unfair. And no, I want NATO to pay because NATO is made up of wealthy countries. But it's time for it to rise to the occasion, he said. Donald Trump was asked about the United States debt. It was pointed out that debt servicing is a significant budget expense. The United States President stated that this will be repaid, among other things, through economic growth. We're moving to a low debt, but we also cutting our spending just like we use it though. The economy is truly incredible. We will grow even more. We'll pay down to debt. At the same time, we are taking steps to obtain significant amounts. Switzerland is a great example. I could get much more from Switzerland, but we are using this customs money carefully, and growth is the most important thing, he said. After the speech, Donald Trump participated in a panel. He was questioned, among other things, about the coronavirus pandemic. He stated that when he first heard about the virus in China, bodies were lying everywhere. But now we're done with COVID. The United States is back bigger, stronger, better than ever before, Trump said, concluding his speech. We are also reducing the eligibility of illegal immigrants for government benefits. At the same time, there will be no more payment to cities that shelter criminals, see Minneapolis, in the United States. Trump said he accused Somali migrants of stealing billions. Trump boasted about his migration policy. He also spoke warmly about the use of law enforcement. Washington is the safest place in the United States right now, and it used to be a very dangerous place. It was dangerous to walk down the street, and now you can walk through the city center with your family, with your children, he said. We had to send in the National Guard, and within 2 months it became great. They even cleaned up the graffiti, he boasted. Low interest rates are very important. We should be paying much lower interest rates than we are now. We should have the lowest interest rates in the world. Because without the United States, you don't have a country, Trump said. For example, there was this case with Switzerland. Let me tell you a little story about Switzerland. They paid nothing. They make beautiful watches, beautiful Rolexes, and so on, and they paid nothing to the United States when they shipped their products. The deficit was $41 billion. In this beautiful place, I said, okay, let's impose 30% tariffs on them so we can at least get some of it back, he said. He argued that the Swiss were crazy. I raised tariffs, and the prime minister or the president, I think the prime minister, called woman, she kept saying, no, you can't do that. We are a small country, she said. He then accused Switzerland of having too large a trade surplus. She stated that after raising tariff, Donald Trump received visits from all sorts of people, including Rolex representatives. They all came to me, but I realized that, and I lowered tariffs. I simply didn't want to harm people. I didn't want to harm them. And we lowered those levels. That doesn't mean they won't be raised, but we lowered them, and now they're paying those tariffs, he said, and accused the Federal Reserve of maintaining, in his opinion, high interest rates. He called the interest rates on loans usury. Therefore, ultimately instructed government institutions in the United States to buy up to $200 billion in real estate bonds to lower interest rates. It's amazing how people change when they get into office. There is a bit of disloyalty there. Trump said he threatened Macron with tariffs if the prices of American drugs in France don't rise. These are different amounts for different countries. This is also a matter of national security. What we're talking about, we're not going to subsidize the entire world, he said. Trump claimed that drugs are too expensive in the United States. He argued that they cheap in other countries because the United States subsidizes them. They maintain this abnormal situation, my emphasis. Because presidents allowed it. I called Emmanuel Macron. You saw Emmanuel in his beautiful sunglasses, by the way. What the hell happened? But I looked at him. I saw how tough he was. He said, I told him, Emmanuel, you're going to have to raise the price of this pill to $20, maybe $30 from $10. Which means it's going to double the price of the prescription drug, maybe even 3 or 4 times as much, he said. Macron said. Donald, I won't do that. I said, yes, you definitely will, he said. No, you're asking me to double it. I said, Emmanuel, you're exploiting the United States. You've been exploiting them for 30 years of these drugs. You should do it. Do it, and he will, I have no doubt. In fact, I'm 100% convinced, Trump said. In other words, what Trump was saying, that we are exploiting the United States, we should raise the prices of products, that the world gets a lot of things for free, and you're not grateful for that America paid the bills for NATO, that the world should learn economics and defense from America. The Swiss should pay an additional amount for watches shipped to America. That's the only reason Trump introduced tariffs on products imported and exported from America for economic growth, the United States president said. But returning to the meeting in Davos, Trump again began speaking about Greenland, which he referred to as Iceland. Words play Iceland on the as another country, and Iceland and the land with ice. For example, yesterday was the first decline in the stock market because of Iceland. Iceland is already costing a lot of money, but this is a small part of what's to come, and we have a truly incredible future ahead of us, he said. Trump went on to claim that 30,000 soldiers are dying every month in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It's just a bathhouse, a slaughterhouse, a bloodbath, a slaughterhouse with blood flowing. It absolutely doesn't help the United States in any way. But these are people, these are young people. They look just like you, like some of you sitting here in the front row. They go to war, their parents are proud of them, and a week later they get a call that your son's head has been blown off. I want to end this. This is a horrific war, the worst since World War II, he said. I'm talking to President Putin. He wants to reach an agreement. I'm also dealing with President Zelensky. He also wants to reach this kind of agreement. I'm meeting with him today, and he can be here among the participants. But it's what really must end, because too many people are dying needlessly, too many lives are being lost. The United States president said, if there is any war, a large part of the fighting will take place on this piece of ice in Greenland. These missiles will fly over this middle of piece of ice. If we want something from Denmark, we want it for national and international security reasons. At the same time, we want our potential enemies far away. We want to build a magnificent golden dome there in Greenland. I think he meant the glass crystal houses, my emphasis. Trump said it would defend Canada. Canada gets a lot of things for free from us and should be grateful, but it isn't. And Mr. Prime Minister, what you said wasn't particularly grateful, but Canada should be grateful. Canada lives because of the United States, remember, he said. Trump reiterated that the United States got nothing from NATO. We paid, in my opinion, 100% for NATO because they didn't pay the bills. And all we're asking for here is to get Greenland to have proper title deeds. We need title deeds to defend it. We can't defend it legally if it's not ours, he said. Trump attacked NATO in Davos. This is very unfair. I will not use force. The United States is only asking for a place called Greenland, which we already had, but we gave it to Denmark. Not so long ago, when we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II, we gave Greenland away. We were a powerful force then, but we were even more powerful now. Trump argued that Europe needed to work on Ukraine. He argued that thanks to him, defense spending on the continent had increased. They said, we'll never raise this level even to 2%, but they got to 5% and are now paying. And at the same time, they're doing great, he said. We never asked for anything. We haven't gotten anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive force, and then we'll be unstoppable. But I won't do that. Got it? He said. Trump again boasted about ending 8 wars, which is not true. He claimed that even Vladimir Putin praised him for ending the Armenian-Azerbaijani conflict. Trump argued that the United States is treated by NATO very unfairly. We give so much and get so little in return. I've been criticizing NATO for many years. I've done more to help NATO than any other president in history, than any other person. There would be no NATO if I hadn't gotten involved, he said. He stated that the war in Ukraine is an example of this. This is a war that should never have started and wouldn't have started if not for the 2020 presidential election in the United States, which was rigged. Do you know that it was rigged? People will soon be charged for what they did in this matter. This is probably breaking news, but yes, those elections were rigged, he said. He stated that Greenland should have been taken over by other presidents in the past. In 2019, Denmark said that it would spend over $200 billion to strengthen Greenland defense, but as you know, they spent less than 1% of that amount. 1%. There is no sign of Denmark's presence there at all. Of course, I respect Denmark, I love the Danes, and the Danish leadership is very good. But the United States, only the United States can protect this great mass of land, this great piece of ice, can develop it, can improve it, so that it is good and safe for Europe and for us. Trump said, "This is why I want to enter into immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history, just as many European countries have acquired them. There is nothing wrong with that. Quite the opposite, because these territories are a great resource for the world, a large piece of land in various places around the world. It's simply happening. However, this will not be a threat to NATO," Trump said. Did the world breathe a sigh of relief? Trump's clear words on the acquisition of Greenland. Greenland is a vast, almost completely uninhabited area, completely undeveloped, undefended, in key strategic locations between the United States, Russia, and China. There are many other reasons as well. We are also talking about minerals, but there are many other places where rare earth minerals are also found. There are so many places where there are rare earth elements, but there are literally hundreds of meters of ice there. And we need Greenland not for these elements, but for our country's strategic and international interest, the United States President said. This is a huge island, unsecured, part of North America. At the same time, is the northern border of the Western Hemisphere. This is our territory. That's why I say it's the national security interest of the United States of America. And this has been our policy for hundreds of years, to prevent external threats from entering our hemisphere. Trump said after the war, "We gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid we were to do it, but we did it. We gave it back, but how ungrateful they are now," Trump said. They're facing a much greater risk now than ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear capabilities, weapons I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, we also saw weapons no one had heard of, Trump said. Trump accused Denmark of falling after 6 hours of fighting the Germans during World War II and being unable to defend Greenland. So the United States was forced. We simply felt obligated to do so, to send our own forces to hold the territory of Greenland. And we did, at great cost, at great expense. They had no chance of getting Greenland. They tried. Denmark knows that. We actually established bases in Greenland for Denmark. We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We fought to save Greenland for Denmark, that great beautiful piece of ice in the Atlantic. We saved Greenland effectively. We prevented our enemies from setting foot in our hemisphere, he said. If we weren't for us, everyone would be speaking German and maybe a little Japanese, Trump said. Would you like me to say a few words about Greenland once more? I thought I wouldn't bring this up, but I think I'd be criticized then, Trump said. I have enormous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark. Huge respect, but every NATO ally has the obligation to be able to defend its own territory. And the truth is, no country or group of countries has the absolute ability to be able to secure Greenland, only the United States. We are a greater power, much bigger than people realize. Trump spoke about Greenland in Davos. I thought I wouldn't bring this up. Trump also criticized wind energy. One thing I've noticed is that the more wind turbines a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse it performs. China has them. They manufacture almost all the wind turbines. And I haven't been able to find a single wind farm in China. Look at that. China is very smart, the United States president said, completely ignoring the growing share of wind in China's energy mix. Let me say, at this point, I must mention the abuse of the internet and phones worldwide. We receive too many anonymous calls and emails each day. Those who send emails into the air misuse phones should be paid for this. This is not a healthy economy. My comment. Trump's most important declaration, I will not use force. I'm just asking. Trump on Greenland in Davos. I thought I wouldn't bring this up. Trump hit Europe. This is how he began his speech. I think we should resolve this issue diplomatically. Karol Nawrocki, Polish president of Poland, said on Wednesday, referring to the Greenland issue. The president, who is attending the World Economic Forum in Davos, also conveyed in his speech that solidarity in Europe is necessary, but in addition, it is necessary to build good transatlantic relations. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte stated in Davos that he did not want to comment publicly on the tensions between the United States and its European allies regarding Greenland. However, he agreed with Trump about the need to protect the Arctic from Russian and Chinese influence. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called in Davos for calm regarding the United States plans regarding Greenland. He was referring to President Donald Trump's announcement, who spoke of full control over the Danish island and national security. The White House has released the numbers. He knows how many countries have already joined Trump's another proposed peace council in these days. A stir over the war tax, a clear declaration from the Ministry of National Defense, Polish National Defense. Poland divided by weather, as much as 15 degrees difference now today. A complaint against the Mercosur agreement the European Parliament has decided. The NATO chief of the Greenland dispute, he agrees with Trump on the Arctic. The United States is back bigger, stronger, and better than ever before, Trump said, concluding his speech on the International Economic Forum in Davos. Thank you very much for your attention.